Hey there, entrepreneurs. My name is Sushant, and welcome to TrepTalks. This is the show where I interview successful e-commerce entrepreneurs, business executives, and thought leaders, and ask them questions about their business story, and also dive deep into some of the strategies and tactics that they have used to start and grow their businesses. And today, I'm really excited to welcome Sarah Neal to the show. Sarah is the founder of Instacake, Cake in a Box. Instacake creates greeting cards that come with everything needed to bake a celebration cake in only 60 seconds. And today I'm going to ask Sarah a few questions about her entrepreneurial journey and some of the strategies and tactics that she has used to start and grow her business. Now, before we dive into this interview, if you enjoy this kind of content, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. And for more content like this, please visit our website, treptalks.com. And with that, Sarah, thank you so much again for joining me today at TrepTalks. Really, really appreciate your time.
You're welcome. And hello.
So yeah, as I was saying, when I looked at this idea, it's such a unique, creative kind of an idea. I mean, you would want someone to receive a cake, when they have a birthday or something like this, but you kind of made it into a reality. So maybe share a little bit about your story, how kind of you came up with this idea, when did you start the business, and yeah, what really motivated you to create this unique business?
Okay, well, thank you. Well, basically, I came up with this idea. Well, my background, just a quick thing. I came up with my degree is in food technology. I've worked with the food companies. I've been cake decorating. I've been baking cakes since the age of like 6. My first, so I love baking. I've done everybody's birthday cake, lots of birthday cakes, all different types. So that's and what happened was that I emigrated to Canada, and I tried to send cakes back to England, and it was getting too expensive, or they got crushed, that side. And I just had this crazy idea came into my head was, well, what if I could send a cake in a card? It was an idea. How? And I went, oh, and then because I went, oh, you could send a little cupcake. No, but especially being in Canada or in America, the distances, the cake are going to get destroyed. They're going to get, like it could take 10 days to go across Canada or get moldy. And I went, no, that's not going to work. But this little idea started ticking. And then I had this idea, and then I bought some baking cases, these paper baking cases. And I went, oh, if I could crush one of those and put that into a card, that would be cool. And then I saw, mug cakes where you make mug cakes in a mug. I went, oh, what if I could do that? That went in there. But if I'm going to have a mug, like I don't want that cleaning up of a mug. That's not much of a gift. So I went, well, if I have this case that went with the mug, but if I'm going to have this, then I might as well have frosting. How am I going to do the frosting? And then if I'm going to have frosting, I've got to have sprinkles. And then by the time, and then if I'm going to have sprinkles, I might as well have the candle. Let's go full. And a lot of it was, and then one of them was, I said to myself, oh, you got to put 4 tablespoons of water in there. And then he said to me, well, which one's the tablespoon? So I made a foldable tablespoon too. So you can make our cakes anywhere in the world as long as you have 4 tablespoons of water and a microwave. And that was the fun. Any age, anybody could make it anywhere. So that's how the idea. Then that took over quite a few years. And then, I just started chipping away at it. It wasn't over, as you probably in any business person, it doesn't happen overnight. You just chip away, little ideas come. And then in 2019, I had a ready to go prototype, and I had to launch it early because I wanted to go to this show in New York. So we literally scrambled everything. We hadn't really done all our marketing research. I said, let's just go for it. And little did I know that was the best decision I ever made, because then the pandemic obviously was just around the corner, where they shut down all trade shows. I would not have met all my customers. So, and that's how I sort of came up with the idea, was little baby steps. It was just like, I want to send a cake in the mail. How do I do it? And work backwards.
So you launched during the pandemic?
We launched in 2019, August of 2019 in New York, and I at the New York Now show. And then I came back, and I have another business. So I was really sort of doing that, and I really wasn't focusing on Instacake. And then but I did really well at the show, and I went, I've really got to do something with this. So in February, I went, okay, 2020, I got it like, Sarah, let's get this going. Let's take this really seriously. And my first employee I took is March the 16th when we went, I think, yeah, 16th when we went into full shutdown in Canada. So that was so now suddenly I've got somebody I've just employed. Now I can't go to any trade shows, so it was a lot of pivoting.
When you were coming up with this idea and you were going to the trade show, was your I guess business model or the way you had envisioned your business was really to sell this to businesses, or were you thinking about doing
Yeah.
I mean, your website is definitely direct to consumer, but
Yeah.
when you were like coming up with the idea, like had you envisioned really to have it distributed through other businesses?
Yeah, I to be honest, I didn't have, I don't know. I was just like throwing it out there and I was going to see what was sticking the most. Because my actual original idea, you're 100% right. It was a B2C. I wanted to send, so right now you can still do that. You put your message in and we'll put it in the card. You can send it anywhere in North America. However, in Canada, the shipping is so bad and so expensive. There's no tracking. So we're taking that probably off, but we're still, America's good. We got a really good tracking system. We got that. So I'm glad I kind of went, if by a I don't know, it was just, I wanted to test it out on the market. And I thought, well, what better way to go to New York and test it on the hardest people out there? Because if they liked it, I kind of figured that was my whole marketing strategy. If they liked it, I'm going to guess I got a good product to sell. And they loved it.
That's so interesting, and I definitely want to. I'll ask you more about your shipping strategy later on, because I mean, this makes an interesting product where somebody would want to have or purchase it beforehand, but some people would. It's kind of like a last minute shipping, right? So I'll definitely want to ask you about that, but I guess before that, so you had this idea validation, you put this product in front of people and you got good response. What was next? I mean, had you already, I mean, at that time you only had the prototype, right? So how are you?
I had the real type. I mean, the cards weren't fully it was all pretty good. It was all pretty, like functional product. But as now I look back on it, we really weren't ready. Like I took that leap of it was naivety. If I now know what I know now, I probably wouldn't. But then if I hadn't done that, then I would have probably never got the business off the ground because of COVID. So there's a lot of so sometimes one advice is sometimes you just have to jump, and then you're just going to hope that the parachute comes out and you land safely. So what happened was I launched it. COVID happened. And then obviously because of that, we had a lot of online orders. So did really well during COVID because but we had a lot of companies that approached us because we had massive orders online because to send to all their staff. I had Zoom parties. We've big company parties. We've had some big names that bought our product because suddenly nobody could go anywhere. You couldn't go to a birthday. And my card was made for pandemic. Little did I know my business plan that I didn't write in ready for a pandemic because it really was made for that. So yeah, that was just like one of those. There's other few people out there just lucky at the right place at the right time.
How are you? So your business, it seems like it has, the product itself, it's multiple components, right? So you need to have the greeting card, you need to have all these different pouches made for the cake itself, then it has to be packaged together. Can you talk a little bit about how you're getting your product assembled or manufactured? Is it done in North America? Are you getting assembled somewhere else?
So a lot of the paper stuff. Okay, so we had to so basically everything that is packed and the cake mixture and frosting is all done in North America, in Parksville, where we actually do it ourselves. We don't outsource it. We have full control over it. I bring in all the cake mixture and the frosting. So that makes us unique, is our frosting, because no one else is doing that except some big companies. So that was a nightmare trying to figure, because I tried to find people, but nobody, and because we're too small, no one would take on our business. They said, no, we need you to make 100,000 cake mixes, and And I'm like, well, no, because I don't know whether it's going to work. So in the end, we bought our own machines. We set up our own kitchens. So we still do that. We make everything ourselves today. So you're right. All those tiny little bits, they came from China. And really good company. I've worked for them they specialize in this paper product. They're one of the best. So I did my research to make sure we get, but everything food related is all made in North America. But that's our biggest nightmare is all the tiny bits, making sure we have enough in stock, making sure we have the right card. But we're changing things now to make production much flow. The only downside for us, and I think I'm no different from a lot of other business, is the cost of doing business in Canada, because the wages have gone up tremendously, that a lot, and I like to pay a fair living, especially where we live. It's very expensive. People say, well, you should go elsewhere. Maybe I should, but right now we like doing it here. So that's our biggest challenge, is getting the people to pack. And also talking about shipping, during that was a nightmare, and stuff not coming in on time. We couldn't get it. It was an utter nightmare during obviously COVID, and now it took quite a while to settle down. It's okay now, but the costs are still going up.
Yeah, so to me it seems like the challenge is that because the cake part is a food item, and I'm sure there's some sort of regulations there. So you cannot just send that or outsource that to a country like, let's say, China or somewhere in Southeast Asia, right?
And I wouldn't.
Yeah. And
anyway, I wouldn't, because obviously freshness. Because, well, also legislation, and also you don't know how long it's been on China, China is very good at many things, and their food in their own country, but I wouldn't have it. I mean, that would be sitting on a boat. I saw somebody, I'm not mentioning anybody, but a product, I know it was made, the frosting was made in China, and it was just falling, like congealing, it was falling apart, and I'm like, no. So we make every patch fresh for every production. So you couldn't get, it's literally every week we make fresh frosting, fresh cake mixture.
No, that definitely makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Now, so you have your product, you launched. Can you talk a little bit about what happened next? So how did you go to market? Like, I know you have a website, but what was your strategy? And it was this is pandemic time, so I guess probably your website probably makes the most sense. But can you talk a little bit about your go-to-market?
I'm a bit embarrassed to say I didn't have a strategy. I literally, I came up with this idea, and I went, oh, I wonder if everybody else wants it. So I just literally, we posted it on Facebook. So that was helpful when we posted it on Facebook. So we had it sort of like did that, but we weren't expert. It was just like lucky enough, we got caught and seen. But then as soon as the borders opened for us to go to America, we ended up going to a lot of trade shows. So because doing online, you have to sell a lot.
Yeah.
And we're not on Amazon. And this is what I keep saying to people. We're not, like we can't ship things next day. We're not not on Amazon. So we then went to America. America opened before Canada. And that's hence why most of our business is in America. So we went to the biggest trade shows there, showed our product to all these all these gift stores, got caught up by some bigger companies. So a strategy I didn't really have. And just sort of like what at the time was, well, where could we go? What was open? How do we get this company? I've got all this product. We've got to sell it in bigger volume, and B2B is obviously a bigger production, and wise you have to be selling on a website. You have to be selling lots of things. And we had 6 cards. Well, it was very hard to make any money just selling 6 cards on a website. So that was my strategy.
So who was your kind of like big first customer that you got on a big business side of things?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, we had some really big companies during the pandemic. Like we've had Netflix, Pepsi, Who did we, and we had another big insurance company. They ordered 600 for a Zoom
Okay.
call. We've done Kohl's in the US. We've been in America. We're in what was it, Mark? What's it called? Oh my goodness, Eagle. What's it? American Eagle.
Okay.
We've been in we were surprisingly in a lot of stores in different places. So, but then equally, we like to be honest, I like the mid-size, the more niche, because they got time to look at our product, because it isn't the cheapest, and that's more our product is more the high-end gift store at the moment.
So, I mean, here's the thing. So, this is such a unique idea and product, and I did not know about it, right?
Yeah.
So of course, as you said, if for a B2C, it requires a lot of marketing, and you need to have a lot of marketing budget to get the visibility and so forth.
Yeah.
But in Canada, if I want to come across this product, like, is it available? Like, what kind of stores would I go to find this?
A gift store. There's quite a few in Toronto. So because I don't really deal with sales so much anymore, but yeah, there's a load of stores across Canada that sell it. So we sell in a lot of hospital stores. I don't know why, but we're really popular in hospital stores. We sell in toy stores, we sell boutique stores. So and then on our website it shows you where our product sells.
Okay.
But the weird thing about our product is that literally we could sell it. We sell into a lot of range of like a toy store called Learning Express in America. And as I said, we did American Eagle. We've done some other companies, and World Market. That was the other one I was thinking of. But then we go into museums, and then we go into very boutique. So it's a really unusual product in that not only do we do all different occasions that it can fit, it fits into all different. I mean, we've got a great customer, and they sell them in a furniture store, and they do phenomenally well against the cards. And we have yet to figure out. So we haven't figured, and I know this is a bit embarrassing. We haven't figured out our market yet because we seem to appeal to a lot of different people at different ages. I think that's our biggest problem, is narrowing down who our market is, because our market is so wide.
I mean, it seems like I'm on your website and I see there's a lot of the cards that are targeted towards birthday itself. I'm assuming like somebody who's buying at a hospital gift store, I mean, maybe they're looking for like get well card or something.
No, because it's ironic. It's birthdays, because there's a lot of doctors and nurses that are there, and they're buying them. It's a lot of staff buy it for each other, or they buy it for they buy it, sort of sick people in hospital for a long time. So no, it's normally our birthday ones are the biggest seller. Teal vanilla is our biggest, like, by far.
And have you tested like all the other occasions and like Christmas and all like those kind of occasions as well? But you recognize that birthday is your biggest seller?
Well, we do Christmas. We're launching a really cute new range coming out this Christmas, super duper range. And that's ironically, just before I came here, I was finishing off a new card. I should have put that in. So that should be launched. So we've done Mother's Day. So the trouble is, when you do these special occasions, and this is one, be very careful, because if you don't get that sales, you've put all this product in and you don't get it, you are stuck with that product for the next year. And you've got to store that product. So for us, we're going to do less special occasions and stick to the core, because you're just stuck. And what do I do with this stuff? I've got to store it, and it costs money to store it.
Yeah.
It sounds great to do special occasions, but it comes at a price.
Yeah, I mean, now that you've learned what's working, I think, the 80-20 rule applies, right? What is the 10-20% that's bringing in the 80% of the revenue? So I think that definitely makes a lot of business sense for sure.
But we did launch out, what we did find was, we've done some kits now. So people didn't want to say, look, some people just don't give cards these days, but they do know gift bags. So we do these little cute kits, exactly the same as cards, but just comes all in a bag. So you can, give it for birthday parties. We have a lot of people, the mothers give it out as gift goodie bags. We have it put it in gift bags, baskets. Florists give it a lot with a bouquet of flowers. So we've branched out onto that, and that's a range we're really focusing on because we can see it's much easier to store bags than it is lots of cards. And we can flip now. Those we can do a special occasion because I can literally flip. We can get those printed much quicker, much easier. And then, so I think, we're going to keep cards as like a real specialty premium product, and then bring in the kit that can fit a different price point because it's less packaging. People say, why is that? Well, it's less packaging, and packaging means money.
For sure. I'm curious. So when you started this business, of course, you had you had the background in food industry and you had this idea, but did you always want to try your hands at entrepreneurship, or was it more like a passion project that you felt that, this is an interesting idea that other people may be interested in, or were you kind of motivated like, I need to quit my 9 to 5. I need to, I want to be my own boss. What was your motivation to create this business?
Well, ironically, I already had a business. So I was just a little bit bored with that. So
Okay.
if you ask my friends, they say, like, I just never stop having ideas. I've already got another business that maybe in 6 months' time we can talk about, but I got another business, which I can't mention now, that I'm hoping to launch. I see ideas, and I'm always, and that's what an entrepreneur is all about. I don't think I'm any special. I think all of us have ideas. It's just that is putting it into action and how. So once you've done one business, setting up another business is not that. Once you've learned from the first business, because it's much easier to do the second business.
Yep.
However, I would say I was from my early age, like when I was, like in my 20s, I always wanted, when I was living in London, I wanted to start a muffin business. But more my family, my dad was a chemical engineer, you get a job, you work 9 to 5, you do this. And there's one bit, I read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I don't know if you know that. So yes. That fundamentally changed the way I thought. I mean, it was a quite a shift in my thoughts. And I went, oh my goodness. And I went, well, why don't, and also I was working, we moved to Canada, and they only gave me 2 weeks holiday. I think even for the first year, a week's holiday. And I was like a management in England. I had 4.5 weeks to find. I went, what? 1 week? I can't live off 1 week, 1 week holiday. So that pushed me into a corner, literally. And I went, I want time with my children. So what does that? And that's what started my first business. And then that's how it all started. So I think it's easy if you've got a very comfortable lifestyle. I think it must be very difficult to jump outside that, because so I think if I was to give any advice, would be try and do them parallel and then get ready to jump over. Whereas I had nothing to lose. My career had gone because I've emigrated. I had 2 children, and I went, oh, well, let's try it and see what happens.
I think that's a great advice, right? Like, if somebody already has a job and they have an idea, try it as a side hustle kind of a thing. I think that minimizes risk a lot, for sure.
Yeah. You're still going to it's going to be tiring, exhausting, and you're going to hustle. But yeah, if that's, in some ways, I think I was like, as I said, maybe I wouldn't have done it if I hadn't had I had nothing to lose, basically. So I went, okay, well, let's just do it.
No, I think that's great advice. You mentioned that now you're not looking at the sales side of things. So can you talk a little bit about your team, who's working with you? What is kind of your focus on this business, and what who's doing what, and so forth?
Well, the girl or young lady, I should say, that joined me on COVID, she's still with me. Okay. And Brianna, and she's been through, she literally we worked upstairs on the bonus room, packing on side our snooker table. We put big cardboard over, and we've been packing from, she helped me literally pack the first cards. So now she's the head of all the sales. She's now off to Atlanta tomorrow. I've handed all that kind of sales to trade shows. And so she's overseeing that. And we just brought on another younger person for her to work with her so they can build up that side. And then I kind of pick people up along the way. I don't ever really go out to employ people. I find people that we like. And then we go, oh, do you want to come and join us? I got a new recruit that I found in a liquor store. We got talking. I said, are you looking for a job? Because I liked her so much. And she's turning out to be great. So we've got now, I got two part-time, well, part-time, they're like 4 days a week. We just also hire a girl with autism. So she's so she can help us. So because we try to give everybody an opportunity. So, and then, so how many got? So five girls and two. So there's 7 of us now, 7 of us. And then
No, of course. Okay. Now, of course, you're a small business in Canada. Do you find, how do you find it to be running a business in Canada, especially with employees, a lot of the changes that are going on? Do you find it's to be easy place to run a business from?
I think it's easy. It's just expensive. I'm sure if I was down in the States, it would cost me a lot less in labor, but there'll be probably different things that I haven't, So I think for me, it's just the wages is the killer. Everything else is pretty straightforward, and obviously taxes, but it doesn't matter where you go in the world, you pay taxes. I think what I'm disappointed in, and I don't want to get too political, but I don't think especially BC, do not help small businesses. They seem to go out of their way to help the big businesses, but not the small businesses. And yet we employ more people than anybody else. And I think for me, they should be giving cuts to say, if I employ this many people, you get a tax cut, so proving that I'm putting the money back in. But what's the incentive for me to employ more people? That there's no incentive. I mean, I mean the girl learning with autism, yes, I get a slight wage, but in the end, she will get a full wage. Well, she gets a full wage anyway. They just cover it. But it's one of those things that they could do so much. They could do so much more. And I think they should be nurtured, especially the young people. They should be nurturing as much helping them out as much as possible, because they're the next generation. They're the ones that are going to build the next businesses. And why would you when you get taxed so heavily and there's no incentive, is there?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think the studies are showing now in Canada, the number of small businesses is going down. And I mean, it's not great because, you want to have people starting businesses so they can employ other people and so forth. But what is it? How do you do business in the US? Like, do you have when you get customers, or when you have customers in the US, do you ship to them directly from Canada, or do you have warehouses in the US? And does it have any duty? Like, what are the duty tax implications?
We've got this great company that does the shipping for us. They give us phenomenal rates. I always say to American, I said, if you didn't know I was in Canada, you wouldn't know. Just because our shipping rates are so good, so fast. And for me, so if I pay for it to go to where we were doing it in America, we paid for it to go to warehouse. We never had the right product in the right place. It would cost a fortune for them to pick it. And we went, okay, enough is enough. And then things went missing. So we went, enough. So we brought it back in-house. We've got way more control. The product is completely fresh. When that goes out, that product was made that week. We do everything to order. So we look through our orders, cards get packed, they go out, or the kit, unless it's a massive order. But yeah, so we find that the shipping, is actually better. It's cheaper for me to ship to the US than it is for me to send something to you in Toronto.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Yeah, and we keep it because if it's under $800,
Yes.
we don't get charged. And and we take it, if a customer gets charged, we take it on, because to avoid that confusion.
For sure.
Yes. So especially in America, you don't want to put, because when they see you in Canada, they're sort of like, oh, And we said, look, trust us. If you find the shipping gets, tell us, but trust us. And then what we also do a lot of free shipping. So when they first open an order, they buy normally a retail ready pack, and that includes the free shipping. So we try and do that as much as possible because that alleviates any concerns.
What percentage of your business is B2C? I'm assuming it's a very much smaller.
Oh, 3%, 4%.
Wow. Okay. So from a marketplace perspective, I know you're on Fair, which is a wholesale, I guess, B2B marketplace.
Amazon, like an Amazon, I guess, for a B2B, isn't it?
But you're not on Amazon or any of these.
In America, we're on Amazon. But that's through one person that we deal with. We haven't gone Amazon Canada because, well, we were briefly, but it didn't work out because Amazon is like, you got to know, people are looking for something. So no one's really looking for us. Which is, I know our budget, unfortunately, we only have such a big, our marketing budget, and a lot of that, the trade shows are so expensive. So there's only so much money we have. I mean, if I could have more money to do marketing, of course, I would love that. Also, we deal with a lot of, as I say, high-end gift stores, and they want something different that isn't on Amazon. So that's why we don't do Amazon in Canada.
Interesting. So I noticed that you had an appearance on Dragon's Den.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about, your financing? Have you funded everything on your own? Did you get funding from Dragon Den? What was that experience like for you?
Well, from beginning to end, it was great. So so what has happened over the last few years, everybody says, have you been on Dragon Den, or have you been on Shark Tank? And I go, no. And then and I go like, okay. And then I went, then one day, and then unfortunately, yes, last year my dad died, and I went to see my mum and everything. And one of the comments she threw out, she said, oh, I love Dragon's Den. And I went, oh, okay. So when I came back to Canada, I went, oh, look, life's too short. I'll do it. I'll do it for my mum and do all for these people. So I can say, yes, I have been on Dragon's Den, and then it shuts everybody up. So I did it as just as a kind of like, oh, I'll just do it. I wasn't doing it for any marketing. I wasn't going out to market the. I just thought I'd just do it for a bit of fun, I guess, and see what if there was any investment. And then I got one of the first chosen, and it happened pretty fast. And yes, so I went on it, and everything went really well. I got an amazing offer. It did really well. The only thing afterwards, and that was great, nothing came about because they wanted to change the structure a bit, Arlene and Robert. And I totally understand. And I think nothing came through, but I totally understand where they were coming from, and I hope they can understand where I was coming from. So, and I'm kind of glad. I'm okay. I like being independent. I mean, so, once we get it to some point, if I have to bring investors, if I need to, then I will. But for the moment, I'm okay with that. But it was fantastic. It was fun. I would highly recommend it. But know your numbers. I really did know. I mean, I knew my numbers.
Awesome. I mean, I think that happens a lot where, it's a show. So, you have your presentation and the offer, but afterwards, then it's the business part and legal part, and things change. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you
Some people do it for marketing. Promote that. I don't know. I literally did it for, hey, I've done it. Here's mum. Because I don't want it like something my mum went and never saw it. So I went, oh, let's just do it, and be a fun thing to do.
Did you see any lift after the airing of the?
Oh my God, our website kept crashing and things like that. It's a shame because I know that this online service is wanted in Canada, where you can, because like in America, especially in England, it's big, where you go online and you order a card and it's delivered the next day. Whereas because it's I don't want to get into about Canada Post, because I have a little bit of issue with them, but they have this slot, and if it doesn't just slide right through, they charge you $15 and or $20 they charge one person, whereas like ours just fits and you got to push it through. But they argue, well, that's not how it is, and then they don't have any tracking. I can't even, you pay $3.25, but you can't get any tracking. The cheapest tracking you can get is between $12. Well, it's only 19.99 cents, so I would make no money. Whereas in the US, I can get tracking, and it's $4.25 or something like that.
Wow, very interesting. I mean, I wonder if you go with like one of these UPS or FedEx or Purolator but maybe you don't have.
That company, I do. It's the cheapest they can do. They can get it down. They've got like $10 within BC, and then I think it was 12 or 13 too. But I still wouldn't make it unless I charged $29 or $30 for it. I don't think anybody would. I don't know. Maybe they will. Maybe I should do some research. Will they pay for it? Because there can be literally, you could be on your phone and you can order the card and get it delivered.
Yeah, next
but
day.
with Canada Post is like, it's one customer. I'm only an hour and a half away from Victoria. It took 12 days to get there.
Oh, wow. Okay. Do you ever think of going into Shark Tank? I mean, Shark Tank has a much bigger, I guess, appeal and audience, especially in the US. And given that US is your primary market, do you ever think about, given that your business is so unique, I'm sure, and you probably have the financials.
Ironically, Robert's on Dragons, and he loved our product, and he's on Dragons. We can't. We've even been approached by Shark Tank, but we can't because we're Canadian. You have to be American.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And yet they've got 2 Canadian, I think, investors that go on it.
I mean, to me, it seems, do you ever think about, and maybe people have suggested to you already, moving to Canada? I mean, through your business, I'm sure if your market is already big in the US, I'm sure that there's like visas that can help you. You can create a business in the US and, move to US.
You mean move to America?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's something on our, that's a big move. And I don't know. Some places have recommended not to because they said the taxes could be out of the world, crazy. I said, well, if I'm making millions, who cares? But I don't mind paying taxes. If I'm making money. It's something that's on our. Yeah, we'd need to go in and have a look at where we would go. But yes, it's in the future. Could possibly be. It kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, if that's your big market and you don't mind being in the US, then I guess, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. What is your, so right now you said, you already had a business. Now this is your another business and you're thinking about starting another one. What is the future vision for you? Like, do you just want to be the CEO, manage different businesses and have your employees run these businesses? What does the future look like for you in the next 5 years, and especially for this one?
Yeah. Well, I think for me, because so I'm 58 now, and I have to say, start when you're young, because like I forgot that the different energy when I was in my 40s to now is totally different. Maybe I have more.
You don't look 58, by the way.
But it's like I think starting young is really where you want to be. But anyway, yes, I would love to be the overall, and I'd like to have everybody running it, or I'd like to sell out. And I think that's what my ultimate goal. If somebody bought us, that'd be fine by me, because then I do have to sort of retire at some point, I guess. But
I guess, it would make most sense. The girl who started with you at the beginning, if she just buys your business, she's already running it.
But she's doing a great job. So yeah, she could easily do it and things like. It's unfortunately, it's the amount of money I might need to be bought out.
Yeah.
I've got a house in Hawaii. I need to buy a house in Hawaii. I've been promising myself that.
Oh wow, okay. Hey, if you want to live in Hawaii, then it makes sense to already thinking about moving to the US.
Well, that is true. That's not a bad thing to think about. I mean, I wouldn't live there full time, but it's things like that. But there's like, I want to travel. There's a lot, obviously I want to go back to UK a bit more often. I just want to try, do things and so fun, I've been supporting this elephant safari, supporting elephants. I'd love to go to there and do more work and something like that. That would be great.
It's interesting that people get into entrepreneurship because entrepreneurship, I think most entrepreneurs are motivated by this idea of freedom, right? Like if you're an entrepreneur, you control your time, but a lot of the times when you're in the field, working on your business, it's like you're working more than you would be working in a job situation.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean, it's kind of I guess what is the word? Catch 22, right?
Yeah. And
So
also I think it chooses you. I think sometimes it's just one of those things. You probably know, you're probably the one of the person you get bored. You couldn't, it's just there. And you sometimes like this other idea. I went, no, I don't know. Ever get no more ideas. I don't want to, but then it just nags at you and you go, oh, I've got to do it because I just got to. So I think, yes, you're right. And then you work longer hours. Yeah, I work way longer hours than if I worked in an office. I'd
for
have
sure.
holidays.
For sure. In every entrepreneur's journey, there's always mistakes made, lessons learned, failures.
Yes.
I mean, you've been doing this for a long time, so I mean, maybe you can share, when you look back at this business, have there been any, big lessons learned or, mistakes that you think you could have avoided that,
We could be here
other
all day.
top,
Any
top, top one or two?
one or two. Okay, then we're a bit of a mistake. I think making well, my mistake. I mean, I made so many. I mean, like it's just because, but unfortunately, you have to make mistakes. Some of the most biggest mistakes I made have actually turned out to be the best things that have happened. So, accidentally something not happening has actually turned out to be the best thing. So, if something really bad does happen, it's not the end of the world. Nothing is at the end of the world. You will survive. I think for me, is cash. Learning about that cash flow is the most important thing. You can have the best product, you can have the best service, but if you don't fundamentally understand what cash flow is, you're never going to make it, because that's what I made. I think in one of my first businesses, I didn't understand that. You've got to make sure that the amount that's going out, the amounts that's coming in, because if they all got to go out at the same time and you can't get a loan or credit, your business is over.
Yeah. No,
So
yeah.
So cash flow, look after cash flow. And I think the next for me, what's the other business is oh gosh, how many mistakes have I made? It's ordering too much. Go slow. Don't. You think you're going to sell 100,000 of these products? No, bring it right back. Even if it means you could have sold 10 times over that amount because you bought a small amount, that's okay. You learn from that. You're going to tweak it to make that go small. I got a mistake back in the warehouse. They all laugh at me. I ordered so many of these stands, and I'm going to have to live through it until we get through them. And then I want to change them. And I went, yeah, this is great. And I realized it was a mistake. So go slow, go smaller, and pay a bit more. If you have to pay a bit more, pay a bit more.
Yeah,
Definitely.
exactly. I mean, sometimes you have to buy more because you're getting better pricing terms, right?
Yeah, but don't.
Yeah. Well, now I'm going to move on to our rapid fire segment. In this segment, I'm going to ask you a few quick questions and you have to answer them maybe in a word or a sentence or so. The first one is a book
Okay.
recommendation for entrepreneurs and why?
Well, for me, it was Rich Dad Poor Dad only because it makes you think differently. And it
Yeah,
changes
that's definitely a great book. Yeah, for sure. To
Yeah.
understand the difference between, just working for a salary versus, your investment and business and things like this. So yeah, definitely.
That was what fundamentally changed me to becoming. There are a lot. I mean, like you got the email. I mean, you got there are so many great books out there. I think it depends on who you are at the time, but that's the one I would go for at the moment, just as a starting point.
For sure. An innovative product or idea in the current e-commerce, retail, or tech landscape that you feel excited about?
I think 3D printers are underrated.
3D printers. Okay.
Yeah. I
I'm
think
I'm
there's so
I'm wondering if your next business is something related to 3D printers.
No, it actually isn't, but no, I just love them. I see them. I'm fascinated, like especially with the building. I think if you can build a house and if we can take them to different places and keep the cost down for the next generation, I don't think they've been fully utilized yet.
I think some countries are using more of the smaller houses. I don't know if they're making
Yeah,
it they're 3D printing it, or but they are like they're a more affordable way, more sustainable way of
yeah.
living.
I know. I don't know if that's new, but I think it fascinates me.
A business or productivity tool or software that you would recommend, or a productivity tip? I
Um,
mean, you're managing multiple businesses, so
yes,
you
it's
must
not a
be
business
productive.
that you think is currently doing great and things. I love any company, and that's cleaning the ocean. So a company that goes out is not necessarily going to make a lot of money. It's doing it for the good of mankind. And I wish Jeff and Matt, all those big guys sort of trying to get to Mars. Let's get down to looking after this planet because it needs a lot of cleaning, and they produce a lot of waste, especially Amazon. So I think he should have anyway. So anything like that, those startup companies that do great jobs cleaning up the beaches because we need our sea.
For sure, for sure. By the way, do you think that we will ever live on Mars or one of the other
Not
planets?
my lifetime.
I
Nothing's
mean, would you want to live there?
no. Look after your own planet. It has like you go diving in the Great Barrier Reef, you go climbing into some beautiful mountain, you go to the savannah or some places in Africa. Let's look after this most beautiful place. We don't even know there's another planet out there in the whole of the universe, and yet we're not. No other animal doesn't treat its planet or its area like the way the man is the humans are amazing, so we can do it. And that upsets me, as you can see, why we aren't looking after our planet.
Yeah, I think there's a great opportunity there for entrepreneurship as well, I think.
Yeah, oh, I
Um,
think.
a peer entrepreneur or business person whom you look up to, or someone who inspires you.
Um, well, this sounds great. It might sound okay, but there was a woman called Sarah Breedlove, and
Okay.
she was the first colored woman to make $1 million in America. And I just watched, not, I mean, about a couple of years ago, and I never knew about her. And she blew me. I think I was so inspired. I went, if she can do it, there's no reason why I can't, or many other people. She was against all odds, and she did it. So she totally
Wow.
inspires me.
Very
So if
nice.
anybody's saying I can't do it, go and watch that on Netflix. Was it CJ Madam, I think, or something like that? And Madam CJ, I think, is her in other name. And she started doing like special oils for colored hair. In like this is 1902, like 90, just at the turn of the century, and she did it.
Is that
So
a documentary on Netflix, or
no,
is that like a movie?
it's a movie kind of
Okay.
thing. But
Okay,
it's
I'll
based
I'll
on
check it out.
it's based on truth, and it's a phenomenal realization.
Awesome.
Anybody could do it.
Final question. What is the best business advice that you have ever received or you would give to other entrepreneurs?
Um, it's oh, it's a journey. It's not a race. So enjoy the wins along the way. I think sometimes I don't necessarily appreciate where we've come from and where we're at today, and I'm trying to do that more. Appreciate the wins because there's enough, people try to knock you down, but I think you've got to sometimes think like, and you've had a really hard day and it's everything, and you go, but look what I've done. I've actually, someone bought my product.
Hmm.
Someone looked at it, someone liked it. Yes, it might not sold millions, but there's a few people. So if a few people like it, so take the wins when you can, and
That is, sorry, go ahead.
appreciate where you've got to.
Yeah, that is such a great advice. I mean, not just in business, everything is a process and you have to enjoy it while you're doing it. And, hopefully there's a destination somewhere, but
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's like you just don't know how long the journey is, do you? I mean, this could take me another 5 years to get it to where I want it to be. So that's a long time. So you might as well, okay, well, let's enjoy it and have fun. And I tried to try and do that with the team that I've got. We try to have a little bit of fun.
for sure. Well, Sarah, those were all the questions that I had. Thank you so much for sharing your story, for sharing your entrepreneurial journey, some successes, and lessons learned. So I really, really appreciate your time again. If anybody wants to get in touch with your business or wants to buy your product, what's the best way to do that?
Instacakecards.com, and there's lots of emails on there, phones. If you want to contact us, feel free to do that. Or order a card and we'll ship it anywhere in North America for $19.99. Ta-da!
Awesome. Well, Sarah, thank you so much again, and wish you and your business lots of success.
Yes, well, thank you so much, and hopefully maybe I'll be on here again with my other business.
For sure, for sure. I'll reach out again for sure.